Thank you, Ms. Chow. Good morning. If you have been to our Breakfast for Champions before, you have heard students speak about what Spring Spirit has meant to them. But I'm not here because my story is much like of what you've heard before. You see, so many of my friends and colleagues at Spring Spirit have had a hard life, a really hard life. I have friends who have grown up around drugs their whole life and who have alcoholic and abusive parents. But my story is different. Spring Spirit didn't need to pull me out of a ditch like they do for so many kids. Spring Spirit instead gave me the highway to achieve my dreams. I came to the United States when I was 7 years old from El Salvador. In El Salvador, my family and I lived in a really small town that was really, really poor. It wasn't safe. There were lots of murders and gang violence, and my parents wanted better. They wanted the American dream for us. So we came to America, and my parents found jobs. For as long as I can remember, they both have always had 2 jobs. My dad painted houses and washed dishes. My mom did laundry at the Houston Racquet Club and then cleaned houses during her days off. It was always a priority for my parents that my siblings and I do well in school. It's what they had sacrificed everything for and what they weren't able to have for themselves. My dad has a 7th grade education, and while my mom did finish high school, she couldn't pursue her dream of going to college because it was so expensive. My parents wanted more than anything for my siblings and I to do well in school so we could go on to college. I wanted that for myself too. But I had to figure out how to be successful largely on my own. My parents weren't around much to help with homework, and even when they weren't able to help because they didn't speak English. So my siblings and I would band together. My older sister would help us with homework and cook for us while my parents were out working. But even with them being absent so they could provide for us, there was a phrase that my parents told me over and over again. Ponte las pilas, ponte las pilas, ponte las pilas. It's hard to translate it, but it roughly means work hard and keep moving. Keep moving. Over and over again, they would tell us that. And that's how they mostly supported and encouraged us. Luckily for me, I got to be a part of the founding of Spring Spirit when I was 15 years old. I wish Spring Spirit had been around when I was younger because I know I would have really loved it as a little kid. I've always made school a priority in my life, but if I had had Spring Spirit earlier, I could have been more physically active and learned about my faith even earlier. Still, as a high schooler, it was a treat to have a place to go where I could go volunteer and invest in the kids and in the families in my community. I would do whatever they needed to be done. In the beginning, I helped dig in the dirt to repair the fields or repair picnic tables, and later, I ended up tutoring and then actually leading some of the education programs. Eventually, I ended up being hired as a mentor coordinator as I prepared to get my degree in teaching. I am proud to say that I am the first of my siblings to graduate with a bachelor's degree from a 4-year university. I graduated magna cum laude from the University of Houston this past December with my degree in teaching. I couldn't be more proud of myself. Ever since I was a little girl, I knew that I wanted to be a teacher. But the path wasn't always easy, and I came very close to giving up on that dream. You see, my second semester as a junior at U of H was difficult. I was taking 18 hours, 2 of my classes being the most rigorous teaching classes that I had to take. I was getting field experience for 10 hours at an elementary school weekly, and I was working at Spring Spirit 20 hours, and on top of that, I had a large amount of homework and readings. Everything just became too much, too fast. I was overwhelmed and doubting my abilities of what I could become. Not only was I overwhelmed from everything that I was doing for school and work, but I was also discouraged because I was placed in a teaching environment that was not beneficial to me. I was always stressed, and I felt like I had lost control. There were many times that I ranted and cried to my friends and to some of my close coworkers. I recall talking to Kenny about what I was struggling with, and he just listened and put everything into perspective. He encouraged me that I could use this as a learning experience of what kind of teacher I knew I didn't want to be. How sometimes we have to persevere through the difficult times, but everything will be worth it in the end. While I cried, Kenny prayed with me and for me for God to be with me during my trying times. The support that I had from my family, my colleagues, my mentees, and the kids really helped me realize that I have a purpose, and I had to finish. If it hadn't been for Spring Spirit, I would have given up on my dream of being a teacher. But now, I am excited to look to my future, where I will start working at a school, possibly teaching second or third graders. My hope is to really get to know my students, to be able to help them out no matter what struggles they're going through, to be able to help their parents realize how important education is, and to help my students realize that they can do it no matter what. Ponte las pilas, ponte las pilas. Work hard and keep moving. Keep moving. In short, I want to do for my students what Spring Spirit has done for me. Ponte las pilas. Work hard and keep moving. Thank you for being here this morning and for letting me tell my story. And thank you for supporting Spring Spirit in any way you can. It is people like you who give hope to kids who are like me. I am proud to say that because of people like you, I was lucky enough to receive the hope. And now I will get to join you as someone who gets to give hope. Thank you.